We're talking love today, baby, on the Viral Report. Let's go! What's love got to do? Got to do with it. That's a throwback right there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Viral Report. I'm Lamar. All right, so I wanted to come on and share a discussion video. This video topic was requested by a fan of the channel. Thanks for the request, Marie. So if you have any topics that you'd like to see, just hit me up at reporttheviral@gmail.com and I'll see what I can do. So as America continues to become more diverse, are you diversifying with it? Are you exploring dating outside of your race, or are you keeping it real? I know I don't mind mixing up the color palette in my life. I think love is blind, especially when it comes to color. I was watching a video on this same topic late last year, and I wanted to share a few discussion videos I ran across. Go ahead and check out these brief video discussions, and I'll wrap up the video with my thoughts.
Winston Duke, what is he, 6'5"? Chocolate drop, you know, black movement.
He's right.
We're all over in Black Panther. He was also singing the praises of black women, but this was only after fans discovered that his girlfriend is not black.
Then, if we put the spotlight on Donald Glover, who's just killing it in the game of life right now, season 2 of Atlanta, work of art, then This Is America, very, very timely song and video that instantly became a think piece, definitely showed all the plights of blacks, but even more shocking than I think those visuals is the fact that he got himself a white girlfriend.
Can you be pro-black and date outside of your race? Can you tap that white woman for me over there?
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Difficult, possible.
Yeah, it's not an easy yes, but I feel like a lot of times, so being pro-black has to do with supporting your culture, you know, wanting what's best for all of us, and especially being on the front lines when it comes to equality and justice.
Yes.
And a lot of times, when we focus on the anger side of that, equality can be flipped on its head, and then you start campaigning for supremacy. And so if pro-black does not mean black supremacy, then of course you can date outside the race, because that gives you the most opportunity to educate others. Because if you given, you know, homegirl more than just black dick and hopefully you give her black education,
hopefully,
then that should be passed on.
The problem I have with dating outside your race, Kiara, she is out right now. She had polled her people in her life, the guys in her life. Yes. And a lot of times they said they want to be able to come home and not have to deal with the issues that they have to deal with when they walk through the life as a black man. So that's where I have a problem. Because now what you're doing is that you're cutting off your pro-blackness so that you can have a comfortability at one point. Bruh, we don't get to do that.
I'm so glad this is where this went. Because I had a thought that, to me, honestly, I do feel like as a black woman, you can be pro-black and date interracially. I find it difficult when I think about black men doing that.
Okay.
And I think just because so many times black men are like, I go outside of my race because it's a better alternative to black women.
Yes.
And so for me, you cannot be woke and make statements like that. Definitely. And I find that hard. So I'm glad that we're speaking, you know, more so how men frame things and frame their day, and that we all want to take off. We don't all want to take up our blackness, but we all want to forget the struggle when we come. I just think if I happen to somehow, on a slight whim, end up dating someone who wasn't black, I said on a slight chance. That would not change. Like, I'm not going to be any less. I'm not going to stop writing for Madame Noir. I'm not going to stop being like, listen, to black women, you know, just because of that. I think the work is just internal, because now I have to struggle with going home and like trying to explain things to you, unless you happen to be of the utmost level of wokeness.
But I think for me, I'm just judging everything on an individual basis. But again, so much of what we hate has been planted as a seed in our entertainment. So I feel like we have to choose what we give attention to via our artists, and that will make a shift subconsciously. Because if everyone is playing the song that glorifies the light-skinned girl or the white girl, then these young black boys are gonna be like, that's who I'm pursuing. Because again, it's learned behavior, it's learned preferences. So now if we see that just as equal Black women, Black love is being celebrated, the subconscious is going to shift as well, and then it becomes a win-win.
Use the word hurt because I feel that puts too much weight on it. Personally, I am not that sad or affected when I see a Black man with a woman of another race, unless he's very fine and she is not what I really think is, a good match. But I do question a lot of their choices because when pressed or asked about it, a lot of them have really lame excuses. Like Michael did the whole thing about milk flavors, and I was just like,
so weird.
Right, like just say you like what you like and this is not it or this is it.
My problem with it is that I feel like Michael B. Jordan's fan base has been built on the backs of Black women, and now he's afraid that he's going to lose his audience, so now he's clamoring, and he's all these milk analogies, and it's really strange, but we see this so often in Hollywood.
Yeah, and we're seeing right through it because all of those types of explanations, they just read as superficial and inauthentic. It's like, just own it, brother.
Africa Miranda's point about, she's not going to live her life kind of identifying, a Black man is dating a white woman. Oh my God, travesty, right? Agreed. But I think that a lot of the Black women that I know, a lot of my Black female friends who are single, are faced with an issue of what's out there, what's in their purview as being true prime opportunities with Black men. And so in the instance that you see a Black man that you could have dating a white woman, it's kind of like, oh, that brother would have been good for me, and he went with a white girl? Oh, and so it really does feel like sabotage. It kind of feels like you just straight up just took an opportunity away from me, and I think that is an issue that we need to address.
I think the point about Michael B. Jordan was really interesting too, about him building his reputation and his fame on the backs of Black women, and I think it is a very precarious predicament for him to be in, only because it's like, now he feels obliged to have to make an excuse. He can't just say, I enjoy dating white women. I think the interesting thing about preference is that it doesn't really affect anyone except for the individual. I understand historically that a lot of, what is seen as the Black plight is the loss of the Black family. But when does that become every individual's responsibility to say, okay, I have to put what I may innately prefer aside to fulfill this larger purpose? And so I think it's something to be said about, just the pressures of what is expected of the Black man and what he's supposed to do and how he's treated if he was to come out and say, yeah, I prefer to date white women. There's a lot of backlash for that.
When Black men listen to Black women on the topic of interracial dating,
they often get defensive and feel guilty. To be totally honest with you, I think when a Black woman presents and says, when Black men date white women, I don't get it. I don't understand. You're not valuing yourself and who you come from. And if you dated a white woman, you sit down there and say, dang, is that true? No. You start to think and calculate and and see if that's the case. And then you come up with a response. It's unfortunate that is the case. But the fact of the matter is that when we hear our sisters give their opinions on it, sometimes we can become enlightened, but oftentimes we become defensive.
What can we do, both men and women, to start to address this, right? What can women do to feel less bothered by these trends? And what can men do, Black men, to try to listen to Black women a little bit more and hold space for them?
I think the key to any problem, the first step is dialogue. There needs to be that conversation. There can't be these feelings of disdain and anger and hurt, and you just keep it bottled inside. I don't think that's the solution in any situation. I think it's best that we have these conversations with each other. We put our prides aside. We try to remove the emotionality from it, and we hear what people are thinking. And furthermore, I think if you speak to a Black man as a Black woman and you say, why do you date white women? And he says, this is all I want to date, then you probably saved yourself and dodged a bullet. You wouldn't want someone who could be so ignorant to think that you could just make a determination on who you love on race. So stay yourself.
Yeah, sure. Agree. I think that Black women, when you do get that kind of response from a Black man, I only date white women or women that are not Black, I think you definitely have saved yourself. I think you exit the conversation, especially if you're not interested in that man. But even if you are, you kind of just move on and don't take on the idea that man's word is the word for all Black men. That's it. And particularly if a Black man is dating a white woman, please don't misappropriate that for only
wanting white women, right? I think there are tons of black men that want to date black women, and that's just a fact. The last piece I would say is date men outside of your race too. I mean, I'm not saying to do it as a tit for tat, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm not saying only date outside your race, but I think you have an opportunity to go out there and explore and see what you like and see that there's not really that much of a difference oftentimes when you're in the dating world. Maybe culturally there might be a little bit, but you might learn something by dating somebody else.
Totally, cast a wide net. But my advice goes to men. I'd say men need to take more ownership for their reasons, right? And like you said, if that's your preference, that's fine. But I wouldn't deflect it by saying that the black woman is less than, right? And then we have the laundry list of things that we can point to. So I would say for men, we need to take more ownership.
Wow, those gentlemen definitely made some great points. And before we close out the video, I wanted to quickly show a Southern family who briefly tells their experience with interracial dating and their family experience.
Didn't get in that one.
Because he wanted regular lemonade. He didn't want raspberry.
Michael and Sonia Peoples live in Hattiesburg, Mississippi with their 2 sons, 5-year-old Gannon and 3-year-old Riley. They met while students at the University of Southern Mississippi and have been married for 4 years.
We just started going out and
just clicked. I will have to say this about Hattiesburg. It's a lot more diverse and open as far as you being able to be whoever you are, whether it's black, white, gay, it doesn't really matter. You want a straw?
No.
Okay. I think it might have something to do with it being a college town.
College.
I think younger people are more
open-minded,
adjusted to seeing mixed families and more open to it. Hey.
Here we come again.
While the community of Hattiesburg has, for the most part, been accepting of Michael and Sonia's marriage, Michael feels his mother has struggled with it.
You know, it hurts. I don't even want to talk about it.
He says his relationship with his mother has been up and down since he married Sonia. In November, they had a falling out and have not spoken since.
She's scared to cross over that line and say, you know, Mike's married to a black girl, they have 2 kids. Of course, they're mixed.
Yes.
Okay.
I think she's just scared. She's scared to find out what other people think when they might not even think anything of it. So.
My family was a little concerned living in South Mississippi at first, but that's just because of the ignorance that hopefully this will change.
My dad was a little bit more leery than my mom just because of the history of what have happened to black men that like white women or lighter skinned women, and that, there's been a lot of history in Mississippi and other places. But Patty and I had gotten to a point to where it didn't matter whether he was leery or not leery. And when he realized that, then he had no problems.
This is my mom, this is my grandmother, and me.
Patty is Thai and Chinese on her mother's side and Irish on her father's.
I think my parents did a really good job of making me very proud of being Asian and also being white, and them introducing me to the whole culture of both sides of it.
You close your eyes.
I think we try to do that with her, that she's very blessed to be able to say that she is part me and part him, and neither one is more important than the other.
I come to pick you. It's 2019, and for Michael, the first guy in the video that we just showed, that's got to be tough for him. On one hand, you have the love of your life. You've got your wife, your child, and on the other hand, you have the woman whom you adore, your prejudiced ass mom. I mean, I personally would not let my family come between me and my love life. After all, I'm not dating my family, so why should it matter to them? Do you care who your family members date? I don't. So regarding your dating preferences, are you more vanilla ice cream or are you more like Neapolitan ice cream? I'd be the first one to tell you, I love me some black women, but I'm definitely down for some Neapolitan ice cream every now and then. You heard me? So, don't be mad at me for keeping it real and keeping it flavorful and not having no limits.
Go right up. Just know when you roll with somebody like me, there's no limit, baby. Make it say,
Oh man, we about to get this party started. If you made it this far in the video, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe, like, and that notification bell. It ain't a party until you subscribe. I love you for watching, and I'll see that beautiful face in the next one.